Happy Thursday, guys. There are 8 income producing multifamily houses that hit the market in South Florida today. Let's check them out. But before we do, let's take a look at the new interest rates. The Federal Reserve just dropped them. No, that's the IRS. We're not going to look at that. All right. I was actually filing for an EIN for a company I'm starting, but we're actually going to look. I think it's over here. Yep. 30-year fixed rate mortgage average in the United States. All right. Let's refresh it and let's look at 1 year and whoops, I think it went up. Oh no, 2020, December 1st. Okay, so as of last week, we're at 6.23. We went back up to 6.3. Okay, so we went up 7, what is that? Like, is it 7 basis points? No. No, it's 0.7 basis points. So with that being said, guys, like, yeah, no, it's 7 basis points, so, right? So it went up, not the best, right? But again, use high interest rates to negotiate and leverage that against sellers, right? The market itself, let's take a quick look at that. 1,982 homes hit the market over the last 7 days, and over the same amount of time, 2,168 homes saw a price decrease. So again, we're seeing more price decreases than even homes hitting the market. And again, you could use that to negotiate a better price. It just means that for almost guaranteed that every single person that puts a house out for the market is going to see some sort of price decrease, right? All right, let's take a look at the 8 properties that hit the market today so we don't waste a lot of time, guys. And if there's a good one out there, you could get to it. All right, we're going to sort by price per square foot. Okay, and these 3 are almost guaranteed to like not make it, so we're just going to quickly analyze it. 1.2, or sorry. All right, so there's clearly something wrong. They're paying more taxes than they are the list price, so there's something wrong with that. All right. Yeah. All right. Let's just put a price here really quick. 1,175. All right. All right, and in taxes, I am gonna guess that he forgot to put a 1 there, so it's probably 12,591. Okay, interest rate, dang, we're back up to 6.3, which decreases our return because we're gonna be paying more in interest rates. All right, and now this guy says that the square footage here is 1,800 square feet, and that the total rent that he's collecting is $3,900. Okay. That's terrible. It's less than half of the 1% rule. Okay, let's look at the guts of this deal so we can figure something out. Maybe he listed something incorrectly. So it's in Wynwood North, right? I think that this guy had already listed this house. Let's see, quick property history. Yeah, he had listed this house back on the 29th, right? And now he wants even more money for it. I don't think it's worth that money because, again, we're looking for properties that can make money today, right? Not in a year, not if, you know, you can redevelop it and do all this crazy stuff. So for that reason, guys, we're going to go ahead. We're going to get rid of this one. And we already reviewed it, so I'm not even going to add it to my notes. Refine, discard. Okay, next up, it's a $650,000 duplex in Broward County. Right now, it's paying $13,460 a year in taxes. Okay, square feet, it's small, 1,351 square feet. All right, what is it collecting in rents? They don't tell us. Let's take a look at the quality of the property. It looks really nice. I like the terrazzo floors. Yeah, I really like terrazzo floors. Cool, they really matched it well with this wallpaper. It looks really nice. Kudos to whoever did this. I love the bathroom. Yeah, I love the living room. All right, so this is not virtually staged. This is beautiful. Actually, it's the best use of terrazzo that I've seen, yeah, in a very long time, I think ever. So yeah, kudos to whoever designed this. This looks awesome, but what you want for it is absolute insanity, right? So let's take a look at the listing, see if we get more information. Showings will be coordinated, yada, yada, yada. So there's tenants in place. That's nice. All right, so it's a 3-2, and the 3-2 is renting for $31.50 per month. And then they say that they have a 1-1, and it's renting for $16.65 per month. Okay, and that puts it pretty good. It's it's above the 0.7, so 70% of the 1% rule, right? We're almost there, and it makes 108% of the mortgage payment, meaning it'll pay your mortgage and then like about 8% more on top of that, with the current rents, with the current taxes. Okay, so Let's do a quick little rent check here because this property is in Oakland Park. Okay, so we're in Broward County, and he says that for the 3-2 he's getting 3,100. All right, well I believe that. You know, it's really nice. So I think he definitely gets more than the median. And then for the 1-1 he's getting 1,600. You could possibly increase this, right? So this property right now is at 650. It's a duplex in Broward. Currently, their rents are 48.15, and with that, the best return on investment, guys, is going to be at 8.6%. Okay. Now the real possible rent, I think that he could get more. I mean, if he got 31.15, which is well above the median for the 3-2, then for the 1-1, as long as it's in the same condition, I think that he could possibly come in here and get like, I don't know, 17.50. Okay. So with that being said, right, I think that maybe it's possible to increase the rents here to 4,900 total. All right. I don't think he's in any sort of distress. Now, what's a realistic price reduction? I don't see that you could go, you know, further down than 600 on this one. Okay. I think that that's probably what he would let you go down, and that would be $50,000 price reduction. And the return here, right, if you're able to actually do that, increase the rents to 4,900 and decrease the price to 600,000, right? The best return you would get is a 10.1, and that just matches the S&P. It's a really pretty property, and maybe even the roof is new and all this other stuff is new, so it might be very little maintenance. But at the end of the day, right, we're in it to make money. And at this point, right, it would just be 116% of your debt service coverage ratio. So you would cash flow, right? But after a year and 8 months. And you might be asking, well, how do I cash flow after a year and 8 months if you just told me that it pays more than the mortgage, right? Because I am taking into account that you're going to be putting apart or aside 5% for vacancy, 5% for repairs and maintenance, and 5% for capital expenditures like, you know, future repairs, replacing roofs, ACs, you know, big stuff like that. So, you know, if you do that, that's the right way to do it, by the way. You wouldn't really be able to grab the money and call it real cash. This guy, Brandon Turner from Bigger Pockets, he calls it phantom cash flow because it's cash flow that comes in, but like it already has an owner, and it's not you. It's your property. It's something that's going to break, something that's going to need replacement or vacancy. So with that being said, this 10% property, that's a D for me. It's really pretty, but right, it doesn't quite pay the bills. So we're gonna go ahead and discard this one. Keep looking. Okay, next up, I think we've seen this property before in the past. Let's make sure. Property history. No, we haven't. Okay, cool. Okay. It's a $1,375,000 fourplex in Miami-Dade. They're currently paying $11,027 a year in taxes. All right, interest rate is what it is. It's pretty big, 3,344 square feet. Okay, it's a fourplex, and they say that they're collecting $6,900 a month in rent. Okay, we'll put that there. Flood zone AE. All right, so you're definitely going to be paying a bit of a premium here when it comes to flood insurance. It's not going to be huge, but you're still going to be a little bit more cash out. Okay. And you can see here, the property looks all right. It's the only picture that we get, guys. So let's look at the guts of this deal so we can figure something out. Fourplex in East Little Havana, so it's in a good position. Okay, it's close to downtown, yada, yada, yada. All right, so they say that they have 2 ones, right? They're all rented month to month. So like in Spanish, it's like, ojo, like be careful. And they're saying that for each one, that for each one, they're getting $1,800. Oops. All right, so that means that they're getting $7,200 a month in rent here. And guys, that puts us at half of the 1% rule. So there's not much that we're going to be able to expect here in terms of returns, right? 1.35 mil. It's a fourplex in Miami-Dade, right? Current rents right now are $7,200. And that's on a month to month, which is terrible. Because again, you're gonna have more turnover costs, more having to look for new tenants, marketing costs, etc. Wouldn't even pay the mortgage, as a matter of fact. And so the returns here are 6.3%, pretty terrible, right? And that's over the 30 years that you own the property, right? Because at the beginning you're going to be losing mega money. Okay, look at this. It just destroys. Like if you can't buy with anything and have this property make any sort of money. All right, so What's it realistic? Now it's 2-1 and it's in Little Havana, guys. So I mean, look, in Miami-Dade, the median is $2,300, right? Could it be that this property could actually fetch you $2,300 on each side? Because if it could, then all of a sudden it doesn't look so bad. But even if you could get at that point, if it actually looks that nice, it says significant capital improvements have already been completed, including yada yada yada. Property is meticulously owned, but they don't put any pictures on the inside, right? So, guys, when they only put one picture, it's to our advantage because not a lot of people are going to do a lot more homework. But if you're able to reduce this guy's price down and the insides look really nice, you would need to reduce this. I don't think that this guy probably goes below 125. Okay. But if he's able to go down to 125, which means what, $125,000 off? Right? And you're able to increase rents to $9,200. Okay. Now, is he in some sort of distress? Let's take a quick look. I don't see anything here. Okay. So again, if we could reduce the price to what did I say? 125? No, 125. Oops, sorry guys. 250. Right? Then all of a sudden this property might make a little bit more sense. So again, you would need to increase rents to $9,200. Okay, that's $2,000 more in rents. And you would need to decrease the price 125K. And if you could do that, then the best return possible here is going to be an 11.5, which for me is it's pretty much a D. Okay, I don't like those kinds of returns. So this is something that I would put at the bottom of my list, and I would come back to it only if all the other properties that we've seen so far don't make sense. All right, so discard this. Okay, next up, guys. All right, we're down to 400, below the 400 price range. It's $1,099,000. Okay, they're currently paying $11,703 a year in taxes. Square feet, 2,909. They don't tell us how much they're collecting in rent. Let's look at the quality of the property. It looks really nice. Yeah, it looks nice. I mean, it's not how I would do them, but it's not terrible. Okay. Yeah. And it looks like you have some space here. That's your property. That's all the property. That's not bad. Okay, let's look at the guts of this deal. See what we can figure out. Fully renovated with 2 buildings. Prime Fort Lauderdale location. Da 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 da. So is it single family or is it a legit duplex? Let's see. Okay, this is a single family home, guys. So this is not legit. Let's see that they actually put several buildings here. They did. House with added units. Okay, so it's a single family home, but they might have gotten like an ADU. Okay, so that's legal. And so it's a 4.2 and a 3.3. The 4.2 is rented out for $3,200, and then the 3.3 could rent for $4,750. They say. Whoops. Okay, so that means that the total rent on this property as is, right? And they're saying that they're actually leased for this. Okay, for this one, let's call it 1.1 million. It's technically a duplex. It's in Broward County. It's right now collecting $7,950 a month in rent. The returns here would be 10.5%. Again, just matching the S&P, nothing crazy, nothing to write home about, right? Now let's do a quick rent check here, guys. A 3.3 in Broward County, right, could go for about $2,700. They're saying that they're getting $4,700, almost $4,800. Okay, now it is a 3.3. I don't have that here on the mix, but you can see that the max that a 3.2 could get is $3,800, and they're well above that. So be careful with this. Let's see if they actually said they have like leases on this. I don't see anything that says that they're actually getting leases on this. And I don't see anything attached here where we could see leases. Okay, so let's say, and they're saying that for the 4.2, they're getting 3,200. All right, so that doesn't make sense, right? Like the one with more bedrooms, more utility, is actually getting substantially less than the other one, and that's a 4.2 getting 3,200, right? So that could make sense, right? Like the median is 2,700. Let's say that you're getting $3,000 for it. Let's say you add another bedroom, so 3,200. That floats. But the 3.3 actually renting at 4,750, it just doesn't make sense. Okay, that might be on a month to month. I think that the more realistic number here is 3,200, and then for that 3.3, man, honestly, like maybe like if it's really pretty, maybe like yeah, 3,400. Okay, maybe 3,750. I'll give them that. Maybe 3,750 if it's just like ridiculously nice. All right, but at that point, the real rents would be 6,950. All right, what do I think that you can negotiate this down to? Probably $1 million before the guy gets mad and throws you off his property. Okay, and where does that bring us to, right? And that's dropping at 100K or 99K. It brings us to a 9.1% return at best. All right, so for that reason, this property is a hard pass. So I would go here, discard. All right, let's go, guys. 800,000. All right, we're down to below $400 per square foot. $800,000. Okay. Taxes. They're paying $9,679 a year in taxes. Interest rate is 6.3. Square feet, 4,000. It's big. Geez. All right, no, that's rent. Sorry, but square feet, 2,169 square feet. They're saying that they're collecting in rents $4,800 a month. Okay. Flood zone X, which is nice. Let's look at the quality of the property. We've seen this property before, guys. Yeah. But I think at this time they added pictures. I don't think we had seen pictures of the inside. Okay. Let's make sure we have everything here. Yeah, so it's a 3.2 rented at 3,200, right? And we are in Miami. And then a 1.1 rented at $600, which is right at the medians, right? So 3.2, $3,200, I believe it. And then a 1.1 at 1,600, believe that too. All right. Unfortunately, at that price, it doesn't make any sense, guys. And so I don't think it made sense before. It's not going to make sense now. I'm not going to add it to my list because we've reviewed this property in the past. It was actually originally listed. Okay, this property was listed before. That pink driveway I have seen. I'm not going crazy, guys. But it says that apparently it's not. So maybe I'm wrong. All right, so maybe I'm having deja vu. All right. Yeah. All right, well, let's write this stuff down. Just, if I come across it again, I'll make sure to. But 800K, it's a duplex. It's in Miami. Sorry, it's in Miami-Dade. Okay, guys. Current rents are $4,800. And that means that the returns on this property at best are going to be a 6.9. All right. And let's see. What are the real possible rents? I think $4,800 is real. Now, what's a realistic price drop? I think you could probably negotiate this guy down like, I don't know, 50, 60K. So like, let's say you give him an offer for 750. I think he would take it. Right. But that would 50K down, that would only bring us to a 7.5% return. And that's just quite terrible. So for that reason, we're going to go ahead and discard this property. Okay, we're down to our the last three. Now this property is a duplex in Miami-Dade. It's selling for $1.1 million, $1.15 million. Okay, they're currently paying $10,959 a year in taxes. Interest rate, they don't tell us, but square feet, 3,156 square feet. Okay. Rents, they don't tell us what the rents are, so let's just put 0 there for now. Flood zone AH, not the best flood zone. All right, let's look at this property. All right, so it's a sprawling property. Where was this again? Miami? Okay. Sprawling property. Okay. I like these kinds of properties. You know, it's stainless steel. It's like well maintained. Look like they have great tenants. Again, well maintained. Whoa, what's going on here? But you know, it is what it is. Like nice, interesting. Let's make sure they did everything here with permits, and that's not some single yeah, some craziness going on. But they say it's a duplex. Okay, let's look at the guts of this. All right, so it's multifamily. Yep, 2 units and a studio. So okay. And they say if you're looking for a student housing opportunity or income producing gem within walking distance from FIU, this investment property is for you. Gorgeous duplexes filled with endless opportunities. Da 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 da. The left side is a one-story. The left side is a one-story unit offering 3 bedrooms, 2 bath. Okay, so it's a 3-2. Okay, plus oversized terrace, a yard. The right side offers a 2-story with 4 bedrooms, 3 bath impact windows. Also has a big terrace. Da da da. The investment is great for both student housing and with the possibility to rent each room for yada yada yada. All right, but we're not looking for renting per room here. We are looking for, okay, so it's a 3-2 and a 4-3. Okay, so what can we get in Miami for a 3-2, guys? And we saw the quality; it's not bad, but I would say it's medium. Okay, a 3-2 could go for $3,000. Let's say it's student housing. Let's say you get a good 1-year lease for $3,300 because it has all that extra space. And let's say for the 4-3, right? You're getting maybe like $4,200, right? Now, possible income, right? The real long-term rents, right, would be $7,500. Now, but the problem is that they're asking for just way too much money. 1.15. The returns here, right? If that's what you can actually rent them out for a long term, 1-year leases, is 8.6%. And don't be fooled when they say like, oh, hey, students could pay more. Yes, students could pay more. But first, there's a couple problems with this. First, they're going to pay per semester, right? They might be here one semester, then they fail, they flunk out, they're not here for the next semester. So now you have like 4-month, 3-month like term tenant. Like what a headache. Also, they're students. Like everybody, we were all young. Like, what do you do when you're in Miami and college age? You party, okay? So like your house is just going to be around that kind of stuff. So yeah, it means more expenses for you at the end of the day. So I would say that that's probably the max rent. Maybe give them like $8,000. Just maybe you're able to get somebody in there. Long-term tenants. All right. What do I think that you could actually negotiate this price down to? Maybe like 1050, right? And if you could do that, then the best returns, and that's negotiating down 100K. Then the best returns in that case with increased rents is going to be a 9.9% on this big on this big property here. Okay, and for 9.9%, I don't want to be dealing with student tenants. I don't know about you guys. I'd rather go with one of the ones that we're renting with like 47% return on investments from yesterday. So for that reason, go ahead and discard this property. All right, now we're in Hollywood, good old Hollywood. They're selling this house for $850K. Okay, it's a fourplex. They're currently paying $12,231 a year in taxes. Interest rates are 6.3%, right? Square feet, 2,812 square feet. Rents, they're saying that they're collecting $6,300 a month in rent. Okay, and that means that right now, as is, they're getting a 9.3% return on investment, which is below the S&P, right? Again, on the 1% rule, it's like 74% of the 1% rule. Okay, so that means like it's 0.74. All right, and the debt service coverage ratio, it would be enough. The rents pay enough for the mortgage and then some that a bank would be willing to lend you money, but it wouldn't be at the best interest rates. We're going to get the better interest rates when the rents pay about 125% of the mortgage. All right, let's see if we could make this deal work a little bit better. Let's look at the quality of the property. It's cute. Georgia Bulldogs. Okay, they're all right. They're a little red thing. I'll knock that down, paint it orange or blue. All right, cool. Okay, can't be mad about it. You know, nice little, they managed to put in a little bathtub there. Okay, cool. All right, smart people. Nice. Okay, guys, let's look at the guts of this. So fourplex with strong income at 1812 Coolidge. This beautiful and large fourplex is currently operating as an oversized 3-unit, generating 6150 per month, with potential to increase significantly by converting back to original fourplex layouts. Features include a new roof. Blah, blah, blah. All right, but that would include additional costs, right? Right now, he says that the 3.3 rents out for $3,300 a month. Okay, that the 2.2 rents out for $1,700, and that studio rents out for $1,300. Now, okay, let's take a look at the quality of the property again. And how big is that 2.2? Okay. All right, guys. So here's the deal. A 3.3 in Broward County could, I think, definitely get, if it's really nice, $3,300. All right. So now the purchase price is $850. It's technically a triplex right now. We're in Broward, and he's saying that he's collecting $6,300 a month in rent. That means that the best return right now is going to be a 9.3%, which is not good, right? We're trying to do better than the S&P 500 here, and also cash flow. So now, I think that's real. Now, the rent for the 2.2, I think that you could definitely get more than that. I mean, I'm renting a 2.1 for $2,250, and I'm like not too far from him. And I think that the quality is about, mine is a little bit better. Yeah, it's definitely better, but it's not like leaps and bounds, right? So I think that it wouldn't be like, especially for, and it's a 2.1. So I think for a 2.2, you could definitely get like $2,200 here. Okay, you just got to market it correctly. All right. And now for that 1.1 or that studio in Broward County, I think that again you could, if is it a 1.1 or a studio? It's a studio. Okay, so I think you could do $1,300. Yeah, that's easy. Okay, so I think that you could increase the rents here to $6,800, another $500. And I don't think it's unreasonable to request a price decrease down to, like, I would say, maybe like 775, right? Because if you could do a 775, I mean, honestly, like, I think that this guy, whoops, because he put in all this work, but you could be like, hey, you know what? I want to turn it back into like the fourplex. And that's the only way it makes sense, and I got to spend money to do that, right? Then you could negotiate yourself a good like 75K off, which is less than 10%, right? So let's say if you did that, then you would be at 775, yeah. Okay, and if you could do that, guys, if you could negotiate 75K off, and increase those rents, then the best return on investment this property could provide is going to be at 13.4%. And that's not bad, right? It's not bad. It's above, it's definitely, it's in the C range. I would give it a C if you had to grade it. But it's definitely better than everything we've seen so far, right? So like, let's go back to, or let's go down to our last property. Let's discard this one. And so now we're going to look at last but not least, a $690,000 duplex in Miami-Dade, currently paying $7,573 a year in taxes. Square feet, 3,059 square feet. Okay, they're saying they're collecting in rents $4,400, and that's just garbage if that's the case. Let's look at the quality of the property. Nice. Look at this realtor is a genius. Let's take a picture of the fence, and then of the cars. So I already, but again, guys, I want to say, like, I hate this listing, but it's not true. I love this listing because maybe this property is like a diamond in the rough, and nobody's gonna find it because the pictures are so terrible. All right, so let's look at the guts of this deal. So see what we can figure out. It's a duplex in Miami-Dade, by the way. Okay, so a bunch of garbage that this guy says, but it's a 2.2 and a 2.1. He says that the 2.2 is rented for $2,200 and that the 2.1 is also rented for $2,200. All right, let's look at Miami-Dade on average, right? A 2-1 could rent for $2,300 median price. Okay. So, but let me go back. He does say let's write this information. 6,900 duplex, Miami-Dade, collecting 44. Right? At those rates, right, the best return here is a 6.9%. Now, I think that we could go ahead and the 2-1, we should be able to get, if it's in all right condition, $2,300 for it. And the 2-2, man, you know, an extra bathroom when you're in a 2-2 situation gives you a lot more money. So I want to say maybe like $2,700. Okay. But even at that point, like the best return, I think the best rent possible is going to be $5,000 a month. Now, what can we reduce this guy? If we come down 10%, it's going to be about 70K. Okay. And that would put this property at like 620. So let's say I offered him 625 and he took it. So you're now down, what is that? 60, 65K. At that point, the best return here is going to be a 10.5, which just matches the S&P and not worth it, right? So again, I think that the best property today was that, you know, the one that we saw just before, that triplex in Broward, because it could potentially make you a 13.4%. Now, the best property that we saw, if the rents are true, right now, the way that it's just renting today would be that $1.1 million duplex in Broward. But again, those rents don't look like they're correct. It looks like the correct rents there are about $1,000 less. Okay. So with that being said, guys, that's it for today. Hopefully there are better deals tomorrow. But I mean, yesterday's deals were so good that it just averages that today's deals kind of stink. So with that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night.